In a world like none other, there comes one man in search of plastic, in search of cons. He is known as Plasticon. Join him as he brings toys from another dimension to a household near you. Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we're going to look at a request that I had. Some guy that had messages in my comments and wanted to know a little bit of information about the Dreadwing / Megatron / BB mold. I wanted to know a couple quirks about it. There's one cork right there. He's very top heavy. He does have issues when it comes to his legs wanting to hold up consistently. He wanted to know some stuff about, like, do these things here tend to pop off quite often? The parts here that go over his arms, these will sometimes pop off. And sometimes they don't like to push in all the way either. It is one of the quirks on this toy, and it's just something dealing with the mold itself. I've seen a lot of people complain about certain things, and honestly, this is probably, to me, one of the coolest molds that had ever come out. I'm extremely happy with this mold, but there are some quirks that I had to learn to get around when it comes to this guy. As you can see, these here do tend to pop off sometimes. Another quirk is the back cannon, because he had said something about his back cannon not wanting to collapse correctly. So let me see here. Been a little while since I transformed this guy, so you have to bear with me here while I fumble through the transformation real quick to get him in jet mode, so that way I can show you guys the other couple quirks that he has, because these are his main quirks, is the fact that these like to pop off. And okay, let's push his head down. There we go. I know how to transform things. It's been a long time since I played with this toy. It's been a long time since I've actually done a lot of this, because I've been very busy in my life. So if you guys hadn't realized, I've been doing a lot of videoing lately, because I'm now working as a filmmaker for our local comic shop around here now. So these, I don't think those fold in all the way. I think they stay out. I'm trying to remember how these legs went. Been a while. It's been a hot minute since I've done this. I admit that. I am not the best at remembering certain things. Probably why I don't like a lot of highly intricate toys. Really not into the insane stuff. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but that's okay. As we get older, some of us like things and some of us don't. I myself have gotten to the point that I really don't. Anyway, these kind of come up and they'll click into position here for the tank mode. You press this button here on the back, and that's how you release these, by the way. And sometimes these quirks here, this quirk here of these staying closed is something that does happen. But I think his problem was with this. This right here is a very, depending on the mold you have, this joint here can be kind of stiff at times. So you have to really kind of turn it, but when you're turning it, I don't ever try to turn it by this part. This part here just rotates. I try to turn it by the actual joint here, and it's just a pin that's in there. It's not like it's a screw. Now it does have a screw here and here, which are for, like, the other modes and such. And if you're going to put him into jet mode, you're obviously going to have to fold this up underneath, and this will sit in the center. It doesn't it's got this little portion here that'll actually rest over this. It doesn't like completely rest. I mean, sometimes these can droop, and if it is drooping, My suggestion is just to use a screwdriver because you can tighten the screw that's right here, and that will actually help keep this from drooping down. Now for this right here to be this rotation part, it's got a couple screws here, so you can probably use, if it's a really loose joint here, I tend to just use nail polish. Nail polish will work. Clear nail polish, it won't damage the plastics, it won't do anything wrong to them, it won't degrade them, but what it will do is build it up enough to keep it from having a problem of holding in position. That's one thing I have learned throughout the years when it comes to owning all different kinds of toys. Now, when it comes to the arms on this guy, I probably should have waited to collapse all this, because I should have put the arms down first. Unplug this real quick. And let's do this. So when you want to transform this guy, you want to push these up and around. And I do know that usually BB or Megatron or Dreadwing is usually the big guy that causes the hugest issue. This just folds down. This is just held in with a pin, by the way, so it's not like it's screwed in or anything. But these do supposed to click in. They will pop into position just fine. And sometimes if it doesn't, like mine caught there pretty good, but sometimes if it doesn't, you need to push this in further because the it should have a little bit of a lip sticking out. So that way it goes in just like that. Now as for the wings, this is a huge quirk it has, is these wings not wanting to completely lock. Sometimes I have to shuffle it just like I just did there, get it to lock into position. That is definitely a flaw the toy has, mainly because the way that the other jet's supposed to dock into the back of it. I am just trying to put him in half tank mode right now, so I can just kind of get his legs out of the way for the time being. Just have to bear with me here for a minute. There we go. It's been a long time since I've actually, like I said, played with this toy, but I do remember the quirks on it because it does have a few huge quirks, and one of them is keeping those wings down, because see, they will spring back up because there's a spring in there. The spring is right here, by the way, that's causing it to flip up. It's not like it's built into here. It's literally right here, so you can see it right there. But you can fold his wings out just like so, and there you go. You got a stealth bomber. And that doesn't want to stick sometimes, and sometimes it's because this portion here, we usually have a little plastic thing here to kind of help with these kind of things. It's this little trigger mechanism down in here. This sometimes doesn't catch all the way. So what you'll have to do is disassemble it over here with these screws, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and this whole piece here will come apart. So I mean, when you do this, try to take pictures while you're doing your disassemblies and such. It's much easier to try to keep track of, but if you do that, this wing will actually lock into position better. I might just have to do that. I might actually have to do a little bit of finagling, because I normally keep this guy in robot mode. I don't really put him in his jet mode that often because I don't really have room on the shelf for him to do that. There we go. That's holding position. But sometimes it's that one little trigger piece. And the reason it does that, as it just did that, is because there's a little gray piece that's in there, and you're supposed to hit that gray piece with the nose cone of the other jet that plugs into it, which is Starscream here. He actually plugs into him in jet mode, and when he does that, it's supposed to engage these wings to flip up, so that way it can be put into tank mode, and then you just flip this thing here up and around, and then bang, you got a tank. That's pretty much what happens. This guy is probably one of the craziest he's not really, I don't even really want to call him a triple changer, because he's actually has another mode where you can put him in where these here become actual launch portions for cyberjets, which is kind of cool. He's got a base mode, which is interesting. But yeah, I haven't done this in a while, and I know it's kind of foolish that I'm doing this without actually doing any kind of practice, but you know what? I figured I would just show you guys some of the quirks, especially if you hadn't picked one of these up in a long time like I haven't. When it comes to Starscream here, he is not the easiest thing in the world to remember how to transform, because of the way he flips. He's got this crazy flipping situation here where you had to twist this whole portion. And I know I actually have a full review of this toy. It's kind of crazy. You can almost turn him inside out, which is funny. This is such a strange design for a jet transformer to me. Especially in G2, because in G2 they were really trying to do new, innovative things, and with Starscream and Megatron, these guys were at the end of the line. They were released in very, very, very limited quantities. That's why I don't really want to mess with this one too much, because I don't want to mess it up. It's literally one of my grails, and I just think it's really neat. Very underrated mold. It's a very fun mold once you figure out how to play with it. I'm trying to remember how to do Starscream here. It's kind of driving me crazy because I can't remember how to do that now. I do know this thing here is supposed to flip somehow, and I can't remember how it flips, because I don't want to break it. Does it go this direction? No, it can't go that direction. I don't know if it flips upside down or something, or is it? Oh, there we go. It catches on these little things. And then yeah. And here I'm laughing at myself because I buggered that up. Alright. Flip around. Flip around. Come on. No, you can do it. I want to run into his head. There we go. Hey, I figured out a thing. Yay! There we go. Alright. That's always the tricky part, is trying to figure this out, because these two little nubs here stick out. But now, I think it's pretty simple to do. And here we go. Flip this up and around. Because this kind of like sandwiches around that, and then his tail fin will actually stick up through. Same thing here. This here, Oop. And then push these both through kind of the same time. He's supposed to same time. There it goes. And then those right there will form the tail fins for the jet. And then these all kind of just collapse, and then they peg in these little holes right here. Starscream's probably the most intricate out of this set. Yeah, there you go. He's in his crazy, weird stealth jet mode. You just don't have everything straightened out here, that's why. I was like wondering why that wasn't going. Okay, cool. There we go. Strange jet mode. Yeah, he's supposed to be like a stealth jet. You do have the guns, which I happen to have over here. And the guns will peg onto the sides here. Just like that. Which kind of beefs out the jet, kind of gives it more oomph. There you go. It looks a little better that way. I always thought it was weird that he really doesn't have wings. But, you know, it's because the gimmick is you're supposed to take him in this mode right here, even with the guns attached. he's supposed to be able to turn this around this way. Take him and plug him directly into the back of Megatron. And when you do that, it should engage the wing here to pop up. It doesn't work very well. I can tell you that right now. It just doesn't. It's a sad truth of this toy. And I mean, to be honest, that's literally the airplane mode right there. Yeah. See, now that I pushed them in all the way, these don't stay down because it's engaged the locking mechanism. You just pull this out just a little bit, and it should allow. It's because I need to go through and mess with that spring, but it should allow it to stay closed, and you'll have it fully like this. Like I said, the arms here, these parts here, sometimes pop off. As for the gun itself, this part here literally does that. It's kind of funny seeing a stealth bomber with this huge gun on the back, but it's pretty neat. I do like it, and this does fold up like this. But remember, when you're trying to fold this up to put this into robot mode, you're going to want to fold down this panel here first. But this panel here is not going to fold down until you've actually disconnected it from the arm. Which is, like I said, I mean, these things, when they clip in good. And it holds the whole thing together pretty well. And one thing about it, you don't really have to worry about gold plastic syndrome on this guy. Just to let you know, you guys out there that are probably afraid of that, that's not going to happen with this guy. He doesn't have that problem. Any of the translucent plastic is all in here or in here. It's not a stress point. Same thing with Starscream, it's just on the nose cone. So, but he's not a hard toy to transform. Quirk-wise, like I said, if you have any issues with some of the joints catching, it's definitely one of those things that's kind of hard to work around sometimes. Sometimes you have to just learn how to deal with that. Now see, this flips up. Now you're able to move the cannon assembly like this. And then this right here will be up over his shoulder here in a second. Flip these things in. And move his other leg down. I really wished he would have had heel spurs, because if we had heel spurs, he probably would have stood a lot better. But that's really no fault of, you know, it's more of a fault of the design than it is the, you know, the actual toy itself. Because the toy has a lot of cool gimmicks to it, and it literally is probably one of my favorite out of all the Transformers that I've had. He really is one of my favorite. I just don't mess with him too much because I don't want to break him. But he really is amazing, and I love this thing a lot. Mainly, I was, you know, I worked on airplanes when I was in the military, so it's something I used to do. And I love this guy just because he's some big clumsy oaf. He's really neat looking, and like I said, the gun assembly here just folds up just like that on the back, so there shouldn't be any kind of huge issue there. These, like I said, these do have tendency to pop off sometimes. I had more of the problem with my Dreadwing mold, the G2 one, than I have this one, because I think the plastic is a little more softer than it is on this particular one. What's funny is I can actually put a gun up here too. Like, this guy had a ton of abilities, the glow-in-the-dark missiles and all that kind of thing. And I just find it really interesting how they decided to release this guy very limited, and it really makes me sad that that's the case. But I don't know, just I have a thing for this guy, and I think he's really cool. And Starscream is probably, to me, the weakest part of the set, just because I'm just not a fan of his transformation. I think his transformation is a little too complex for what it is. It didn't need to be as complex as it is, but they made it that way, so that's fine. I mean, honestly, it was a Dreadwing mold, is what it was, so I understand they were trying to do it for Septicon. I still don't understand the lore behind that one. I actually even have the comic book thing, and it really doesn't explain much about that. And I'm even talking about the Japanese one, so it's really strange. But, you know, he does turn into a little successful looking little robot, and he's very articulated for the time. Plus he has light piping. Just, you know, light piping is amazing. Light piping is on both of these guys. This is kind of a quick little look at some of the quirks that this set has. If you guys are out there looking for them, I highly suggest getting one. They're amazing. They're really fun. And they're not, like, the hardest thing to find out there. There are several different versions of these guys out there, like, several. There's even a crazy knockoff I've seen of him that he's red. He doesn't have this. You know, it doesn't come with the smaller jet, but it does come with this, and it's like red and white. Really crazy. It's a knockoff of one of the Robot Masters version, because no, the Robot Masters version didn't have him either. The Robot Masters was just the larger bomber portion. I've never had either one of those in my hands. It'd be kind of cool to get. I've had every iteration of this besides that, but they're very cool toys. Anyway, this has been Plasticon. This is me signing off. Peace out, y'all. See you around, because I have plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye.